And we're back with part 2 of my interview with Nicoco, Hawaii. If you haven't heard the first part, you may want to now. In this second part, we're going to hear from Ashley Campbell, the other half of Nicoco, Hawaii. We're going to hear the backstory of how the company got its name, and then we're going to delve into how conscious businesses can really save the world. We had so much fun in this second half, and I think you're going to love it. Enjoy.
You know, I think now us being in the shop is given a validity that I think we hadn't had. Because we've been a major business now for the last couple years. I mean, almost 6 years running of this company. We started the company when we got Nico, who is the namesake of the company.
And, let's talk about Nico for a second. Nico is like the dog mascot of Puna, in my opinion.
Yes, our little white wolf.
Yes.
She's the cutest dog I've ever seen. I'm not saying that because she's my dog. I'm saying it because I've never seen a dog fluffier or cuter with brighter blue eyes. And
she is so cute.
Yeah, she's a magic dog, and she has been 100% just a galactic, cosmic space pup for us. Like,
yes,
one of these dogs that came into our life and completely transformed everything.
Wow.
Transformed our relationship, our activities, our days, everything, our company. And yeah, she's been great. We've never had to train her, never had to teach her anything. She's just got it, and she's just a great dog. I guess, yeah, a very fitting dog for us. The way it just worked out is just...
Yeah, someone needs to animate like her as a character, because I just see like having just she's photogenic. She's definitely very photogenic.
Yeah, she's inspired a lot of artwork, not just from us, but from other people. We've had people come to the island doing fashion shoots that have asked to use her in fashion shoots.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that's so cool.
She's done photo shoots and fashion shoots and been in brochures and things. Like, when she's around, people just want to photograph her.
Can I ask how you found her?
Oh, well, she kind of found us. I mean, it was funny. Ashley had always wanted a dog. And me, obviously, having done veterinary work, was very particular. Like, I was like, oh, I don't really want a dog. I understand what that's going to mean. I know what kind of time we have. I know, like, how different dogs are. I said, here is her criteria. And I made up this impossible criteria, almost jokingly. Like, okay, we can get a dog if we can get, like, a white wolf dog.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, like, yeah, like, and I don't want to buy it or anything like that.
It's got to come to our house. It has to lie down in front of the door.
Yeah.
It has
It's like that Dumb and Dumber scene, right? Where and he's like, so you're saying there's a chance, right? He's like 99% sure no. And he's like,
there's a chance.
And Ashley kind of responded like that, like with big eyes, like, really? And I was like, yes, we can get a dog in this situation. And I was like, okay. And it wasn't a month later. And same thing, like Nico being a space dog. Ashley has this relationship with the universe that I have not entirely figured out.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I have to be careful what I say around her, because it's like,
it'll manifest.
It'll somehow come true. And she'll somehow manifest this, because it was like not a month later that one of her friends was like, hey, you have to come over and see these dogs at my boss's house. She just like had all these puppies. I guess her friend was working as a secretary for someone, and they had puppies, and it brought them all in for them to see. And Ashley was like, oh, can we go? I just want to see these puppies. I just want to go and play with them. And I was like, here's the thing. We can go, but we cannot take one. If we just want to go and play with some puppies in a field, that sounds great. We'll just go and play with some puppies in a field. So we go over, and lo and behold, you know, we're greeted at the gate by two giant wolf dogs, just beautiful blue-eyed white wolves. And we're like, whoa, you know, and we come in and they run us up, and then we see like there's a group of like 2 or 3 people playing in this field with all these puppies, and there's just puppies running all over the place. Little, you know, the newborn, they're maybe like tiny, week and a half, 2 weeks old.
Wow.
Like crawling around, little fuzzballs, like eyes barely open. And yeah, right away we were like, wow. And I kind of like knew it. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh man, like,
gotta take one.
Yeah, I guess we have a dog now. You know, and there's some great pictures of us obviously meeting and playing with these puppies when they're really little.
Were they all blue-eyed?
Most of them were at this point, all puppies, I think, are blue-eyed. So they were all blue-eyed.
Oh,
Most of them were
that's
white.
right. That's right. I forget about
But
that.
they were all white except for two of them. There were two black ones. And I really liked the black one, actually. I was really hanging out with him, and he looked like a killer whale, and I was just loving spending time with him.
Yeah.
Someone else took him, but really what we attached to was the runt of the litter, which you would think is Nico. Nico is the runt of the litter now that we know. She's the tiniest of all of them. She took all the recessive traits from the parents, which meant pink nose, blue eyes, single fur coat, practically albino.
Yeah. I thought she was albino for the first split second I met her. And
I think she just has every recessive trait that there is, and it kind of leads to that place. But we fell in love with the one, and we were calling him Little Boy, and that's what Ashley wanted to call him. And he was the runt at the time. He was the last one out, and was the last to open his eyes and crawl. And he was playing with us every day, and we ended up going over there every day. No matter what we were doing, we went there every day for at least an hour for a good 4 weeks.
Wow.
And we just loved spending time with them. We actually loved the woman who introduced whose pups they were. It was Rachel Knack. And she's still, at this point in time, I can't think of anyone I consider closer or more of an Ohana. We really love her to death. And she's made a lot of our life possible, whether it was through just love and wishing well, or just great advice and being there for us when we needed anything. We would just ended up spending days and days just sitting in the grass with her and the dogs and talking and laughing. And when it got to the point where she's like, hey, I have to start getting rid of these puppies. Like, who are you taking? She didn't want to give any of them away without us like deciding like which one of them we wanted to be with. And we were like, we want to have Little Boy. And there was times where we were going between two. We're like, we'll take Little Boy and this one. And she was like, that would be great if you took two. Like, I would love for you to have them. And she didn't want to have any of them. She had the parents. She was like, I'm okay with just this.
Yeah.
So the last day, like, people are showing up, and she's like, okay, people want these dogs. And we were like, which one do you guys really want? And I had Little Boy in my hand, and Ashley was sitting on the ground, and Nico climbed up while Ashley was on the ground, and Nico just climbed up into Ashley's lap, just like crawled over to her, crawled into her lap, and like climbed into her arms and was like, hey, like, I'm right here, like, pick me up. And there was something that happened right then, that even though we'd spent weeks spending time with Little Boy, Ashley all of a sudden just felt a huge love for Nico and was like, this one right here wants to come home with me. And of course, I was like, well, I'm holding Little Boy, like, this is who we're going to take. Do you want to take both of them? And Rachel was like, you could take both of them. Like, and she wasn't charging us. She charged everyone else a very reasonable price for them. But she was like, no, I want you guys to have one.
Was Little Boy the dark colored one that you mentioned?
No, Little Boy's all white one.
Oh, okay. I'm just picturing this scene in my mind.
Yeah, he was an all white one, and Nico was all white, but Little Boy was like the little runt one. And but the thing is, what was different is that Nico was the only female, and I didn't really want a female dog because I understand the difficulties with them related to male dogs. And I was like, okay, well, then I don't think we should take both. This would be a bad idea. Okay. And we put Little Boy down, and someone very quickly found him and loved him. But Nico was like, I want to be with you. And we always were hesitant about her because of all of them, she was the only female, and she was separate from the whole pack. They would all lay in a puppy pile, and she would go climbing 30 feet off on her own and lay on her own. And we always thought it was very weird that she was a very, like, much a loner. And I think what happened is that she was just very wolfy and really wanted to kind of get to know things or people before she was close to them. And kind of wants to be, I mean, even now she's laying off in the woods over there under a tree by herself. She's a very private creature.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, and people have said it, though, to us, that, you're really lucky that she found you guys, because in any other situation, she would not have done really well, because she's not a family dog. She's not an animal dog. She doesn't want to be around other animals. Like,
she still has a lot of wolf in her.
Yeah, and she very much wants to kind of be on the edge of of everything and watching
Mm.
and taking it in, but she's hugely affectionate with us. She really takes us as family and
Mm.
cuddles and plays, and we're really so fortunate to have found her. And I mean, the adventure really begins then at this point, because now we're starting to make ice cream. We have this beautiful white wolf pup. The image for Nicoco came from a photo that I took of her as a little baby looking up at me from the
Hmm.
ground,
Mm-hmm.
just like, looking straight up. And I was like, oh, so that image is actually kind of a perspective shot of like her nose and her eyes, like all looking kind of doughy eyed up at me from the ground.
How was the process of picking the name when you're like, okay, we have a vegan company, vegan gelato company? Was it
So
Nicoco just came to you really quickly, or was it another process?
oh, we had thought of all sorts of funny names. Of course, we'd sat there making names up all day long. And, we had Nico at this point, and Nico obviously is named after Nico from the Velvet Underground and Nico, one of our favorite bands in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We have actually kind of made pacts to only name our children or animals after this band in funny ways. Like, it was just how we've always been, because it is our favorite music. And so we named her that after Nico because she had the beautiful blue eyes with this like black mascara line, and we were like, it's so 60s, it's just perfect. And we were making our ice cream out of coconut, and someone, Jasmine actually, who I mentioned earlier, Jasmine and Sasha, we were sitting around eating lunch with her, and she just blurted it out one day. And because we were thinking, like, joking around while we were at the lunch table, making up names, and we were like, just thinking of funny things. And then she was like, Nicoco, like Nico company, but coconut. And it just had that trifecta, right? Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
3 points. They all met. They all made sense. And we were like, we love our dog. We love coconut. We love what we're doing. And we were like, here we go. Let's do this. It is now Nicoco. And we trademarked it that week.
Beautiful. And it rolls off the tongue. It's not that hard to spell.
Mm-hmm.
If people haven't been to nicocohawaii.com, they should go. Nicoco Hawaii.com.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful photography on that site too.
Yeah, that's actually all done by a local photographer named Phil Payson. I don't know. I know you probably met Phil, or
I have
seen his work.
I have seen his work. I have not yet met him in person. I know that it's in the future. Now, doesn't he direct as well?
Yeah, he's a cinematographer and a director. He's made multiple movies, about 3 or 4 movies.
I was going to say, his name sounds familiar. I really enjoyed Aloha from Lava Land. I backed that on Kickstarter, actually.
Oh, nice. Yeah, he is. As far as local photography goes, he's really is the best. Wonderful photographer, wonderful for video, and really creative mind.
I'm just so blown away by how interconnected everything is over there. I mean, I spent some time away, and now I'm coming back soon, and it's just amazing how, I mean, we were talking earlier before we started the interview, and how many people that I'm familiar with that are like, they're all people you know really, really well. So it's all the good people stick together, right?
I think so. It's a great place and with great people. Oh, Ashley's walking up.
Beautiful.
Hey, sweetheart, how are you doing? I'm still doing the interview. If you'd like to walk in and do a little bit, Andrew, like that. Of course, get your stuff ready.
Sure, no, thank you. But so while we're waiting for a minute for her, so the Coco, we've got the dog, we've got. I guess one question we can get in, kind of a shorter question, is, as you're growing this, I'll ask about social media very briefly. How is your balance with that? How is your balance with, because it's such a temptation these days, these websites, and I'll just name them out loud and call them out. Facebook is designed to be addictive and hit your dopamine. Instagram is designed to be addictive.
They're sales places. They're trying to sell. Regardless of the social media aspect that we all think it's about, it's about selling. I mean,
it's about time and attention. Yeah, exactly. And they want to get your eyeballs there, and then they're going to serve you a very targeted ad.
Oh no, there's phones in that. Let's give that to her later. Yeah. Nico is eating lunch. Looks like someone left her some chicken at the guest house. She loves it. It's funny. She loves the guest house on our property more than our own home because people come there and they'll eat meat in the house and then they leave
Oh,
things for her. And I swear, like if we left the door open, she would just live at that guest house. Like she's just like, I'm waiting for people to come here and give me treats.
it's the treat house. I was just about to say, it's the treat house.
Yeah, for us, I mean, in our house, we could put our dinner plates on the ground, and she's like, I know you guys don't eat that. I'm not going to touch it.
I don't want a green bean today, and walks away.
Yeah. She looks at us funny, like, what do you guys eat?
I think we forget canines have a very different evolutionary path than humans.
Yeah, biologically, they're very different creatures.
Very, very different. Yeah, just curious, like with social media, just in general, like how do you find balance with it? It's such a part of our lives today. I do feel like the interview wouldn't be complete without touching on it at least briefly, and kind of what kind of works for you in terms of, reminding people you guys exist. Although I would not be surprised if you didn't really need to use that, at least because everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, we don't need to use it a ton, but we do enjoy doing it. Really, it's really a nice way, almost in a photo album kind of way, to kind of document progress and growth and things that we've been doing or flavors that we're thinking of, or kind of like share ideas. I mean, granted, yeah, we're not posting up every flavor. We could. I mean, we're making 13 flavors a day for the shop, and
Yeah.
we'll post one of them. Or like, yesterday, for example, we started making milkshakes. I just posted one milkshake. Here's a coffee milkshake. That's it. And, we try to keep it simple. To me, it's there to kind of let people see things and be like, oh, that's really beautiful. Look at what they're creating. Look what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But never really wanted to use it as a thing like, come on out, like buy my stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's a nice way to be able to interact with people in a way that is tangible for them, because not everyone could be here. We have a lot of followers that follow us from overseas or mainland.
Yeah.
And I think it's more like that's a lot of why we do it, because locally, yeah, the shop sells out every day. The market sells out every night. It's not something that we really need to be pushing in that way. But at the same time, it's also helped a lot. Like we wouldn't have been able to open the shop without so many wonderful people via Instagram or what do we use? GoFundMe.
Yes.
And that was a big push for us, because we were like, okay, we've been doing this all these years. And then we kind of had a call to our friends and family through Instagram and Facebook to say, okay, let's get a shop. Let's open this up and get the equipment and the space that we need. And it was so wonderful, the outpouring that we had of family and friends and neighbors and people that we've never met before. People just proponents of veganism, or people on island that just wanted to see the neighborhood look nicer. Really fun, great how it came together.
Yeah, it was beautiful seeing some of that come together, and just like the painting it and getting the ceiling right and getting you really restored that area. They really restored that building and the storefront, and now it's so different. It was a lot of fun to see. I mean, you could tell you guys were having fun in the middle of the work. It's so encouraging. Like, they're getting a bunch of stuff done, but they look like they're having a blast too.
Really, opening a shop, it was such a great experience. So many people talk about these nightmares of opening and starting a business and losing money, and like, oh, how much money you lose in your first year. And, I could say this with confidence, that we've only really ever experienced growth and abundance in our business, that, we've let it grow naturally. And I think that's the biggest part of it. People are always saying, oh, we're inspired by you. We want to do what you're doing. Like some people too, literally, like, they're like, oh, we want to do what you're doing and literally do what we're doing. And that can be awkward. We had someone show up at one of the farm markets like, look, I made coconut ice cream. And we're like, thank you. But this is our livelihood. Like, why don't we work on like, a little less literal approach of this? But
yeah.
And other people, like, around the country, we'll hear from people all the time that are like, oh, I went to the farm market and I saw what you're doing, and I started at the farm market by me. And I'm like, that's awesome. I love seeing that.
Yeah, and there's so many niches that have yet to be filled too. I mean, I'm not going to try to make a shoe and compete with Nike. I'd feel like if I was making vegan gelato and trying to sell it where you were, I feel like I was competing with Nike, because you guys have so much more experience than I would have at that.
We actually always said, like, we're like, there's someone asked like, "Oh, look, there's competition." They jokingly said it that night, and we're like, "No, there's no competition. I don't find it. I don't think it's competition." And whether it's said arrogantly like, "Oh, it's not competition because they're not good," or
Well,
"There's no competition because I don't feel that it's competing."
yeah, but I think there's a space for playfulness in that
Yeah, exactly.
too.
And I understand that there's a point where people do things like that, and then they think back at their actions. You know, not every action is done in any kind of way. I don't think people do things in a harmful.
It's not necessarily personal.
Exactly. I think people do things. A lot of people do things blindly, just kind of like going through life and falling into things.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was an intention there, right or wrong.
Well, for people who are serving in need in the community, you've given me a perfect segue for one of my questions, which is, do you have any advice for people who want to start their own, environmentally aware or conscious business on the Big Island or otherwise?
Yeah, like I was saying, I think the best advice that I've been given was a saying, and maybe Ashley can help me with this. Inch by inch, life's a cinch. What's the next one? It's like foot by foot. Like, yeah, mile by mile, always a smile. It was just a saying. It was very cute, but that idea of take everything, whether it's an inch, a yard, a mile, or the whole world, that you take everything in stride, everything one step at a time, and you let things grow naturally. Because I feel like when we've seen a lot of friends come out and start companies at markets or anywhere, they try to put all their money in, they put all their time and energy and effort in. And yes, you have to commit to what you're doing. You have to give it your whole heart and your whole being. But it needs to come from a place of natural growth. You have to treat your business like, I wouldn't say a child. I would say a business is more like a tree. You have to really treat it that you're planting it in the right soil. You're nurturing it and feeding it and watering it. You're keeping it from being stomped and mowed. You're growing it, and it needs to grow naturally and slowly. Like, we've been doing this for 6 years, and people look at us now like, oh, I want to start a business. And they think, oh, we're just going to start where you're at. We're going to be in the grocery stores. We're going to be in a shop. We're going to get all the markets done. We're going to just jump all in. And you see them burn up so quickly. It's exhausting. And I wouldn't be able to do this if I didn't grow into it. If they just was like full tilt boogie right from the get-go, I'd have just been like, what am I doing with my life? This is crazy. This is why they say like 90% of restaurants fail, because it is such a, diving right into the deep end and then
definitely
trying to keep this going. We've had the really great fortune of being able to progress from things like Kalani to Locavore to Island Naturals to our next big step this next year into KTA and Safeways and Whole Foods.
Really? You're getting into KTA and Safeway? Yeah,
well, this is our goals for this year. We actually made the goal to be into Island Naturals by the end of the year. And Ashley, as you just heard.
Hey, congratulations. Is Ashley there? Is she going to be able to join us in a little bit?
I think she can, yeah. She's just getting back, and I think she's putting groceries away. But
okay. That would be awesome.
I think she'll definitely be able to join us for a little bit. No, we'll get new questions.
We got other things. We got a couple other things.
Yeah, but it's definitely been a progression. But today Ashley just dropped them off, and we'll probably be putting that up on Instagram in the next 2 hours or so.
Oh wow, that's really exciting! Congrats! Last day of 2017.
Yeah, I mean, this is our 2017 bucket list, and we were like, oh, okay, we got one. We actually wrote them this morning. We're like, we have this on our list to get done by this year, and they wrote back. They're like, okay, we can do this.
And just imagine like how much more you're gonna kill it in 2018. I mean, you're on this ramp now where it's self-feeding. You have the reputation and you have a great product and you have the brand awareness. I'm sounding too businessy, but you have all these things.
It is business at times, and it's the hard part because we went from such a place of playful and fun with it, and we still really have a lot of fun. Obviously, like you said, in the painting and the bringing together a shop, like we laughed and played and enjoyed every minute of the creative process, and we still every day get up and we're like, what are we making today? Like, what kind of fun flavors are we going to do? What are we going to do with our growth of our company? And Yeah, for 2018, we've had the resolution to get through all of the Safeways and Whole Foods and KTAs in Hawaii.
On the island or statewide?
We're going to start with Big Island. And did we set the intention statewide for the end of 2018, or is it just island-wide?
Island-wide.
Island-wide for 2018. But
That's good.
We'll see where it goes. I mean, it can go anywhere.
I wouldn't be surprised if you had some on other islands as part of the whole agreement.
Like you were talking about earlier, the Big Island Booch people just recently are now in every Safeway, KTA, and Whole Foods throughout the island chain, and ABC stores.
Wow.
And they started at the farm market like us, and I've just grown and grown and grown. And Brendan's been a big proponent, just always when I ask like advice, I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, sell it more stores, like make more ice cream. He's like, if you make it, it will sell. People seem to buy everything you guys make. Just make more.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay.
I just delivered to them too.
Ashley just did a delivery to them as well.
That's awesome.
All right, let's hit the next question.
Are you here?
I'm here.
Hi. This is Ashley Campbell, the other half of Nicoco.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
You missed something earlier. We were Sean said something really great about how he describes the way you approach making gelato, and he described it as like a flavor haiku, something along those lines.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate.
But as he was describing the way you approach food, it just made me think of like a wizard, like you're like a flavor wizard.
Thank you.
And I can see how much I mean, obviously I see your stuff on Instagram and I see your stuff on the internet of like, that is too beautiful. I wouldn't be able to eat it because it's art, but it's very inspirational to see what you make. And I can definitely see how that goes into making these really unique flavors for Nicoco.
Thank you. That's very thoughtful and sweet of you.
Yeah, we've kind of been talking about, well, you're welcome. We've been talking about like the origin of the business and your journey, through Oahu to finally to here, and kind of you and Sean's backstory too is amazing. Like how you guys had this like instant connection. I almost want to like touch on that really briefly and kind of hear what your perspective on meeting Sean for the first time. I feel like that would balance out the interview.
Oh boy. Okay.
He told a pretty awesome story, I'm going to tell you.
I guess I don't want to be too redundant with everything. So I guess the best way I could speak to meeting Sean and our relationship is he pushes me and us to places that I wouldn't have ever thought possible. Mm-hmm. He's a great visionary. And one of probably the most creative person that I've ever met in my life. And wow. Of course that comes, with different challenges along the way. But I think the most fun that we have together is me supporting, our visions and finding the paths, the necessary steps to create our own reality and to make those goals and visions and dreams more than just small talk or more than just, late night conversations, but how we can really empower each other and support each other to grow further than I believe we would without each other's love and commitment and understanding.
Yeah, and that's even apparent from a distance, how you guys do support and kind of fuel this sort of manifestation vortex around you. It's funny, earlier Sean was like, I'm careful about what I mentioned to Ashley because she has a really good habit of like manifesting what I just sort of mentioned, and talking about Nico, talking about how, you wanted a dog, and he was like, well, we need this, and this. He sort of had like a checklist of things that would need to fall into place if the dog was going to work out. And like, it was like 2 weeks later and sort of that situation manifested to get Nico. So I don't know.
That is true. That was definitely one of the most magical things for sure. But I trust that more will keep coming. That's part of life, I believe, and especially having a partnership and a relationship is that continual growth and evolution, be it, on a personal level, a professional level, creative, anything you can think of. Without growth, there's just stagnation, and that's boring. What's the point of that?
Amen. Well, that's what this interview series is about. A major component of this is personal growth and how that relates to being an entrepreneur and living sustainably and saving the world. Those are all the points of what this interview series is about. So I'm really
great subjects.
I'm really thankful that you guys are, part of this series. I was really happy that you guys are.
Yeah, I'm glad I can hop in here for a little bit.
Oh, me too. Well, it wouldn't have been complete without you, honestly. We've been having an awesome discussion, but we got to hear the other side. But is it true? And I mean, we can cut this out, but is it true? Sean said that you guys moved in together after like the first day you met?
Yeah, I think it was like less than like 5 hours.
That's amazing. It must have just been like this instant, like I kind of described it as like knowing, like an sense of instant knowing.
Yeah, I mean, when you put yourself out there to receive love and that experience, I think it's important to be open when the universe presents those opportunities. And if you're not going to be an open vessel to receive them, you're setting yourself up for a lot of disappointment and closed opportunities. And the way just opened, and we were like, all right, hey, cool, let's let's do it and see where this takes us. And I'm pretty stoked about where we've landed.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, you've got every reason to be. I mean, it's inspirational from 3,000 miles away, which is where I am right now, temporarily. Were you ever worried, Ashley, though, that you're like, I mean, I don't know, all the backstory, but were you ever worried to think this is going too fast, maybe being swept up too fast? Or was it, I'm curious what your feelings were on that. Because I would have been like, oh, I don't want to be, maybe I'm just a very cautious person. You guys are much more spontaneous than I am, I think. But were you ever worried it was going too fast, or was it just like everything was in alignment? Your gut was like, oh, this is okay.
Everything just made sense. Like it really did. And, even just from like an economical standpoint of moving in together, it's like, hey, if we're going to spend all our time together, why would we pay rent for 2 places? Like if I want to see you all the time, why would I not want to wake up next to you every morning? If we want to change from, New York lifestyle and Hawaii is an option, hey, why not? I think both of us, something that we both feel very strongly about is living our lives without having any regrets. I have it tattooed across my chest. It was one of my first tattoos I ever got when I was 18. And it's a good reminder to really embrace things as they happen. And I feel that it's much better to experience and explore the possibilities, especially when you're thinking of them in context of, positive and healthy growth and change, of course, and explore those and go for them, even though they may be scary, because otherwise, the alternative is definitely a lot more frightening, just not knowing how it could have been. And Sean's definitely taught me that, that's for sure. I'm a list maker. I am a cautious one by nature.
Me too, to be honest.
But that, it's one of the things that balances out really well.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed really, really early on is you both have similarities, but you both have very different personalities. And I think that's what really helps balance everything out. And I mean, but you both have this attitude of adventure toward life that I find very inspiring. I mean, even Sean was telling me about when you guys landed in Oahu and you realized, oh, we're not on the island that our friend's on, but let's make this an adventure. And, just kind of went forward and dove headlong into this adventure in a very
years for us to actually even end up meeting them, which is really fun.
Really?
Yeah, and we had planned. Yeah, we had a whole thing. Like we had a WOOF program. We had signed up for WOOF, and
great program.
We found a yoga retreat here on Big Island and everything like that. And then we landed. We're like, we are not on the right island, and we're like, I guess we're not going to that farm, and I guess we're not going to meet Brad's family.
This was before iPhones and like the internet was like easily accessible, so it was much more like romantic time to travel.
That's true. There wasn't an iPhone out at that point. So yeah, we were walking around. We actually had like a giant Dell laptop. Back when laptops were 2 inches thick.
Oh yeah, 7 pounds.
Yeah, that was part of our camping gear. We kept it in a garbage bag, just wrapped up to
Wow.
waterproof it. And that was like our way of communicating. We'd go to hotels or Starbucks and be
Whoa.
like, hey, let's use your internet.
It's like several minutes of battery life. It's like a strong bad laptop.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
That's awesome. So it seems like everything is just evolving and like you said, you're growing into it. How do you see, I mean, I see Nicoco as a business. I mean, I think most people could see it clearly that you're really thinking about sustainability and you're really thinking about supporting the local economy. And there are a collection of companies that are really, really, really conscious, especially on the Big Island, about those things. How do you see that like changing and evolving into the future? Are there any patterns you've noticed? Or what are your thoughts on how, I mean, I think we're probably going to see more businesses like that. I'm curious what your thoughts are on how it's changing over time.
I think that we live in a very interesting time period, to say the least. And something that I've personally learned about the weight of existing as a business versus an individual. The business has a stronger weight in American society right now. Business has a larger voice, for better or for worse.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, part of doing Nicoco, I'd say actually one of the largest, most important things to me about Nicoco is using it as a vehicle for social change and for, positive, ethically sourced food, a cruelty-free lifestyle, and that there's an alternative to participating in basically these old world paradigms that really profit off of harm, be it, an animal, another human, anything like that, creating garbage that's harm to our environment. So I look forward to seeing more businesses and, hopefully individuals pop up and find that motivation, find that strength to speak up and speak out against, the very scary things that we're being faced with in the world right now.
Yeah. I find that veganism, like we said earlier, is huge for us. It's definitely one of our driving factors. Mm-hmm. But in that same way, to me, it is a consciousness shift that has happened through our diet, like how we eat, that consciousness shift has changed how we view the world. And I feel the world is kind of going through that as well. Like I'm seeing veganism increase. And whether it's in veganism or not, like we're going to start seeing, I think, sustainability and consciousness start increasing and lifting because, we're coming out of this era where we went from being a farm culture into this industrial culture. And we're realizing really quickly this industrial culture is massively, massively harmful for the planet, for human life, for human health and life on general on this planet.
Especially when you put profits as the top priority.
Exactly, over people.
You've probably seen this. I'm always reminded of this really fantastic quote, but I forget who said it. But it was some Native American said, "It won't be until the last tree is cut down and the last river is poisoned that you guys will realize that you cannot eat money."
Yeah.
And I think about that.
I think the Lorax said that too.
The Lorax.
You can't eat money. It's very chewy.
Yeah.
So here's a perfect segue into one of the few questions we haven't touched on yet, which is, do you have any advice for our listeners on how to be more sustainable in their own lives? I mean, obviously going vegan or at least cutting back on animal products goes a really long way. I mean, I think
it's a huge way for sustainability on this planet. Animal products are huge. Dairy industry and the cattle industry in particular. It's really, really harmful for our water, for our health, for the environment. It's just not good in every way, shape, and form. And where I would start is with products. For me and Nicoco and we're using Nicoco as our platform, like a big part of it is that we do not believe that a single-use item should ever outlive the user. Your stirring straw for your coffee shouldn't be on this planet longer than you are.
Completely agree.
Yeah, your Thai lunch dish that you're going to have 30 times this year, 40 times this year, we don't need 30 or 40 plates from you eating Thai food floating around the ocean. I mean, you think, oh, it's just me, it's just one time. But, you know, with 7 billion people thinking, oh, it's just me, it's just one time, every single day, 365 days a year, 3 meals a day. I mean, we're looking at astronomical amounts of garbage, whether it's
quadrillion pieces of garbage.
Yeah, trillions of pieces of garbage. I mean, think about every straw that McDonald's uses for a soda.
I really try not to.
Oh, it's just millions and millions a day.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, them advertising millions sold is more of them advertising how much trash are you making. It's this stuff shouldn't be outliving us. So I would like to see more people getting rid of the idea of using styrofoam. Styrofoam is awful. Using plastic forks and spoons and straws, getting them out, that it's not needed. Plastic bags for shopping bags, not needed. It's very easy just to carry a small bag with you. It's very easy to keep a metal spoon or fork in your car, keeping a plate with you, just having these things around, because this is what we've done since ancient times. This isn't a new concept. This is us having to return to the really old ideas of, be prepared. If you want to eat, you better have a bowl and a spoon.
Yeah. And now there are these really good, I mean, not that I'm a massive fan of silicone, but I have a silicone bowl for camping that is washer safe, and I reuse that, and those fold down really small, and it's so.
Use it a million times.
Yeah, you use it a million times, and you're not making plastic waste all the time. That's why I'm just really happy to hear, and I expected this, but I'm always happy to hear that you guys are using like starch-based or whatever, biodegradable utensils for your shop and everything that you do.
Oh, for us too. And yes, and we understand, like, people are like, why is your ice cream cost this or that? And we're like, it actually doesn't cost much more. We're only Oh, I know.
Oh, Nico wanted to be on the show.
Yeah.
It does. We only charge $2 a scoop. I know that's a really reasonable price ice cream wise around the country, but I understand people asking, but we're like, you know what? We are not trying to pass the cost on to you, but at the same time, we want this planet to be sustainable. And sometimes that means we have to give a little more for that. And I understand if someone's like, oh, I can't afford ice cream today. It's like, it's okay. We understand it's a dessert.
Yeah.
It's when you want, and we're doing it a conscious way. and we think that this is the option for everyone. It should be an option, that you shouldn't have to feel like, oh, I'm buying something and it's using garbage and I'm going to spend less money to get something that's going to create a worse planet. For us, that's what we're paying. That's what we're paying for, is the quality. Yeah. Just like, people complain about taxes. Oh, I don't want to pay taxes. In these countries like Germany or Netherlands, where they're paying 40% taxes, they're getting education, they're getting healthcare.
Healthcare, imagine that.
Healthcare, imagine that. You have to give a little to get a little.
You do.
And I think it's part of sustainability is being a community. It really is being in touch with who's next to you, who's locally near you, your neighbors, your friends. Like, you're creating these networks and giving to them. You can't just say, oh, I'm part of this community, I'm going to take. And I think it's kind of like this Kanye West culture that we're just like, oh, we're in America, I'm just going to take, everything's for me. I want everything. And I don't care about the repercussions. It's kind of nihilistic. It's like, makes you think like, where is this going to go in the future? Yeah, I know, Nico. It doesn't have a future, that kind of lifestyle. Whereas building on family and community and taking care of your environment and thinking about your body and your health, that is the future. That will always be here.
And you can feel so good about it too. You can be like, I'm not making waste today, and I'm supporting local farmers, and I'm supporting the community. I mean, I feel so good. One of the things I always feel good about when I buy your ice cream is, you know what? I know this money is going to real human beings who are growing this food nearby, and it's helping people nearby who, nobody's getting super rich off of growing mint, no. It's like they're doing it because
it's actually a really old lady named Jackie who grows mint for us.
See?
And she's like 78 years old, ex-nurse, just lives here in Seaview. Very nice old lady. And she's not making a living off of it. It's just something that she enjoys doing.
Yeah.
And she likes farming and growing, so it works out really well. And same thing with our vanilla. Our vanilla comes from one of our neighbors, and they just grow vanilla bean.
Yeah.
And we then turn it into our own vanilla extract right here at our property.
I mean, it's basically fair trade, wouldn't you say? Like it's
Yeah.
it's such a transparent interaction and transaction, and it's going back into the island's economy, and it's going back into a place that, you know, for so long was very disenfranchised and very
Yeah, by corporations and
Yeah.
by government. And for me, it's a big part of what I love about what we're doing here. And I love seeing it. Just yesterday, our friend Jaybird opened up his first wagon right over out by the lava flow by Uncle's and started his own company up. And, you know, just love seeing people like start these kind of things and being able to tell people like, hey, when you're here, you don't need to eat at IHOP. You don't need to eat at Burger King or McDonald's. That's not going to help anyone. It doesn't help the people that work there. You're not helping owners. You're not helping anyone. But you know what? When you spend money here on island with a local company, you're keeping money on island.
Mm-hmm.
You're keeping this economy. They're keeping this ecosystem here healthy and happy. And I like to use Hawaii as a macro micro.
It's definitely a micro
kind of thing. Exactly. For the whole world. But you know what? This applies to everyone in any community. When you spend money in your community, you're helping your community.
And then you end up helping yourself too.
Exactly.
It's a virtuous circle.
And like you said, I feel good about it. I love it. I love seeing other people thrive. I love going to my friends' shops and businesses and just being able to support them and see them grow. I mean, I even like having my little shopping bag. Like, hey, I have a Star Wars shopping bag.
Awesome.
And I like going to the grocery store and being like, look, I get to fill my Star Wars bag up and I keep it in the car and I like have it on me.
Yeah.
In the same way, like I like having my hydro flask.
Oh, love hydro flask.
Yeah, it makes me, I like it. I feel cool. I
Yeah.
like having like my container for it and I like going places and like,
Oh man.
hey, I don't need a cup. Just put it right in here. I can wash this and use it. I don't need any paper. I don't need any straws. Thank you very much. To me, it feels good. It feels
and the ice stays cold for 24 hours.
everything. And your tea. I'll put hot tea in there. It would be hot 12 hours later.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Ultimately, though, I think it's about, you know, being mindful, you know, mindful in your actions
Yes.
and how your actions and your choices affect your reality and the world and the community around you.
Definitely.
And, you know, I think we can, as humans, we can experience a lot of really amazing joy and transformation as a unit. I think there's been way too much separation in the last hundreds of years, and it's nice to see that we're finally starting to remember, you know, where we've all come from and to return to that connectivity that, you know, always been there, but we've definitely been distracted for a long time.
I feel like all three of us could do just such a kick-ass philosophy podcast. We could just do a show.
Wait, that's what we're right now?
I mean, we are, but I mean, technically this is a one-off. Sorry. I might have to split this up into two parts though, because we've gone into such depth and we're actually pushing 3 hours right now. I can't believe it. I'm so thankful. That we've had this time to share.
Thank you, Andrew.
I mean, this has been great. This has exceeded my happiest expectations. I guess I'll close it out by saying that is there anything that you would like to specifically promote as we end this?
Nico, yeah? She's promoting more people, giving her treats. Yeah, that's what you're looking for right now.
And
no treats. And more walks. So you promote more dog walks for everyone. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
You want to go hiking more every day. Now she's looking at me.
She likes the guest house. She likes the food she gets there.
Yeah, we need more guests with more food for her. So we there's so many people that we really love and enjoy. I've mentioned a lot of them throughout this conversation already.
Definitely. I mean, obviously people can go to nicocohawaii.com, NICOCOHAWAII. Your beautifully delicious product is available at Conscious Culture Cafe and Hilo on the Big Island.
Yeah.
Tin Shack, Lucy's
Locavore.
Yep.
Island Naturals now.
Kalani Retreat, Island Naturals.
Lucy's Taqueria, which not everyone knows, is one of my favorite vegan places to eat on island. They do everything, but they are very vegan friendly.
Oh, yes. That's Mexican food, right?
Yes, Mexican food. They make
just making sure.
Delicious mushrooms and mica.
But currently you cannot really ship your product outside of Big Island though, or can you? Is there a way
we can ship inter-island, but we cannot ship to mainland, unfortunately, yet.
People are going to have to go to Hawaii.
Yes.
But if you're already on Hawaii, you're really missing out. if you haven't had it yet.
One of the things Ashley and me have always really enjoyed about what we're doing, and kind of in her head, she always looked at these companies and said that she wants to be an artisanal company where people have to come here to do it. It kind of is one of the joys of the things.
Oh yeah, that's true.
We want Nicoco to be synonymous with Hawaii. That you can come to Hawaii and have this experience and have us here, and then go home. Because you can keep Hawaii with you in heart and spirit, and you can keep Nicoco in that same place. But it is very much here. We think of the two of them as indispensable in a large ways. We've had people ask us, like, why don't you come to San Francisco? You do great there. And they're like, you'd make 10 times the amount of money you make in Hawaii. And I said, yeah, but then I wouldn't be in Hawaii. We love it here. We love our life and our culture and our community. And
well, people can definitely follow you. You're on places. You're on Facebook, Nicoco Hawaii.
Instagram.
You can find us on the interwebs.
You're on Instagram, and people should definitely check out Instagram, because like you guys are, your food just looks delicious. Like I've tried it and it tastes amazing, but some of these photos are just like you got a camera with good glass or something. It looks amazing.
Oh, thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much again, and I just have had so much fun, and thank you so much for sharing so much with me and with the listeners. Yeah, I think everyone's going to really love this time and listening to it. I'm probably going to split it up into two episodes. It's kind of got long, but it's the best kind of long.
Pre-Ashley and post-Ashley.
Yes, exactly. Okay, well, I will let you go, and it's coming up on 6:00 here, so it must be coming up on 2.
That's okay. Thanks again, Andrew. It was really nice catching up with you, and we'd be happy to do this another time if you'd like. And if anyone wants to follow up with us or ask any additional questions or just talk story or anything, you can always send us an email too, and you can find that on our website.
And I will definitely put your website, Nicoco Hawaii, that's Nicoco Hawaii.com, in the show notes. Once again, the show notes can be found at myth.li. And I just want to thank you again, both of you, for joining me on this interview. It's been a blast. It definitely went on a little bit longer than I thought, but I love the depth we were able to get into. And before we go, I want to remind everybody that they should subscribe to this show on iTunes if they enjoyed it, because then you won't miss any of the incredible interviews I have coming up. I have a lot of interviews coming up. And if you like Instagram, I'm Hello Crusoe on there. The word hello, Crusoe on there. And you guys are Nicoco Hawaiian Gelato on there. Everybody should go ahead and find you guys on Instagram, because your food is just so beautiful. And yeah, this has been awesome, and I can't wait to do it again. Once again, as I said at the end of part 1, if you don't want to miss out on any interviews and you like Instagram, I do post a sample every time I post a new interview. So it's another way to keep in touch and not miss a single interview. I have so many great interviews coming up, and I can't wait to share them with all of you. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time. Aloha.
And aloha.